Welcome to the Zacks Roundtable Review, a discussion of current events affecting investors as well as other topics of financial interest, featuring the analysts and editors of Zacks.com. With the Q3 earnings season winding down, what will the market focus on for the month of December? Our Zacks panelists weigh in. Joining us this time around, Research Director Shiraz Mian, Stock Strategist Tracy Reinick, and ETF Strategist Eric Dutram. Shiraz, we'll start with you. You are still singing the December taper song, aren't you?
I think you can take it off the table. The data lately has been good, and I think if Bernanke can take the crew along with him, though I don't know if many people are listening to him anymore, it'll be a good thing he will leave behind for his successor. It'll make life so much easier for Janet Yellen if they take a small taper in December. It maybe started even in the spring, but announce the process.
This week we have the release of the FOMC minutes. Any clues there, you think?
The October, nobody expected it to have come in October. The big surprise was September. And then everybody had kind of moved on to later in the year, December, or in the spring 2014. So I don't really think there will be any major clues in the October meeting. But what we have heard from folks on the committee is that the September one was very, very close. So we don't know. I'm not willing to take it off the table yet.
All right. Well, Tracy says one of the main focus is going to be on housing data, and just before this taping this morning, home builder confidence came in for the month of November, kind of flat.
Yeah, housing was booming in the spring, and that's kind of why the taper was going to be on, I think, because they felt like housing was coming back, the stock market is rebounded, we're starting to get some momentum, and then the mortgage rates went up and housing dramatically slowed. Spooked the Fed, they decided not to taper, and then the mortgage rates have come back down, but not as cheap as they were in the spring. They're not back to the record lows. So while it's better, it's still not that great. Affordability is still an issue, and sales aren't really rebounding. Now, this is the slow time of the year, but even seasonally, if you look year over year kind of thing, they're still on the weak side. So that's why I think that the Fed isn't going to taper in December. I thought maybe it might be on the table after seeing that really good or better than expected employment report, but with housing still kind of being an iffy thing, I think they really want to put the floor under housing and get it really, going out there, and they're not willing to do anything that's going to mess with that.
So you think that's a major focus, along with the employment reports and
right.
Any retail data that comes in between now and the end of the year.
Yeah.
We have no real big data to kick this week off, but we do have a lot of Fed presidents speak this week. They're back out on the circuit again, so maybe there's some clues there.
Yeah.
Eric, you're paying attention to oil as a market focus.
Especially with a couple key retail numbers coming out and some retail stocks reporting later in the week. I think Target's probably the biggest one of the group.
Right.
So what's the connection?
Well, as oil prices tend to go down, it tends to boost consumer confidence a little. And so we could see some transition here to more retail-focused stocks to end the year. And it could help to make the consumer feel a little better to end the year, especially with some of the issues we've been seeing in other corners of the market. Housing kind of stabilizing here, not really as booming as it once was. So I think that could be a key area to focus on over the next couple of weeks.
I was really surprised, just to add to Eric's point, I was very surprised in Walmart's negative report that they didn't acknowledge the drop in gasoline prices at all. I thought that was a big positive, at least for their consumers. But we'll have to wait and see as to what Target has to say. If Target reconfirms what Walmart said, then the lower end of the consumer isn't in very good shape.
And from having spoken with each of you off camera, it seems like everybody here feels that a pullback of some sort in this rally would be healthy. Would you regard it as a buying opportunity?
Well, I've been talking about a pullback for a long time. It's kind of like become a broken record. I think the handover from the current policy regime at the Fed to what will follow it will not be smooth, to say the least. And I don't know how much pullback results from that. But I would be surprised if we don't get at least 8, 10, 12% once the.
But the market seems to like Janet Yellen.
Yeah, Shiraz, what's really going to be the difference here? If anything, a lot of people think Yellen's going to be a little more dovish about rates.
Yeah, the Yellen is another coming of Bernanke, so it's continuation of the policy, and that's a good thing that there are no surprises on the monetary policy front. But as we saw in May, when we heard about the odds of a taper announcement improving, we saw that rates started backing up. We saw its effect in the equity markets, and the emerging markets literally went into a tailspin. The currencies for countries like India, Brazil, Turkey, Indonesia, all of those were really hit hard. So China is stable. The U.S. is stable. Europe isn't doing as bad as it was in the past, but a change in Fed policy will have consequences, and those will be negative consequences for the stock market here.
Tracy, you look for value among stocks out there. Pullback, would you be jumping on any pullback?
Oh, sure. As value investors know, there's not much out there right now. So anything, even 3 to 5% would be better for the value investors. So yeah, I definitely, the history so far this year has been if we even get a 3 or 5%er, that everybody kind of piles back in, and I think that we would see that again. So I'm not so sure we would see an 8 to 10 or 12% pullback if everybody's piling in at 5.
Yeah, Eric, what about ETFs? Would a pullback mean some opportunity, some buying opportunity among that space?
Well, I mean, the ETF market's so diverse in terms of sectors and countries. It really depends on which ones you look at. I think for the U.S., certainly a pullback would be a great time to buy. Emerging markets, it's a little more dicey there just because of the taper issues, and a lot of countries, as Shiraz was highlighting earlier, have seen a lot of problems with their currencies. So that might be a region to still stay away from. But if you just look at the U.S. and kind of go towards more growth stocks, sorry, Tracy, then I think that might be a better way to play the market.
So is anybody taking any bets on whether or not the S&P 500 is going to top 1,800 this week?
Oh, it's topped.
It topped it today, I think, didn't it?
Yeah.
But it pulled back. I'm talking about a closing top.
Oh yeah, sure.
I don't think there is any question about that.
He's like, yeah, why not?
I don't think there is any question about that. The momentum is so entrenched in one direction that unless you shift the macro picture, and the big thing on the macro picture is the Fed, unless you shift that, this momentum is just in one direction.
You guys are pretty much in
And to Tracy's point, there isn't anything that's cheap.
There's no reason to sell them at this
can't,
point, right?
Can't find anything that's on sale.
Is that right? No reason to sell at this point.
I would take profits and sit on the sidelines a little bit to look for better opportunities. This is frothy stuff. Everything is as high as it has ever been.
He's so descriptive, isn't he? All right, we're going to leave it there for time. The one thing is for certain that these folks all feel that the direction of the market is still up, regardless of what the market's focus is going to be over the next month or so. Their top stock picks are in focus, though, and that's in our next segment, so click on over.